Kalenjin ilele nenye. Igere Nee Chitab Kalenjin ibwatene. Imoe Nee Chitab Kalenjin ilele nenye. Ugezi so Chitab Kalenjin unengengi. Botingengi onime mwawe yenaitul. Kongo mengen konime teba tige mwaun. Igere Nee Chitab Kalenjin ibwatene nye. Igere Nee Chitab Kalenjin ibwatene. Imoe Nee Chitab Kalenjin ilele nenye.
Karibuni Chitab Kalenjin akebwatwech Daktari Joel Kimeta kole Igere Nee Chitab Kalenjin ibwatine akeweke eng very special episode number 64 eng betutab rani ketinye tonyo tikiwechi kongoi eng biik chekikotune in show nekosirto yukokimi kebeberta nebo olimbo Nairobi yukokimi ak notok Senge Elena kongoi chang biik chekicherokis chekityo ta recognize fans chechok chesubet eng takwek tugul cheterchin chemi emetab Australia chemi emetab America chemi emotinwek chumbo olimbo Southern Asia. Agere Jiri Brenda kole tune in, karibu sana, asante sana Jiri Brenda ak timit tugul nebo kebeberatak ameche kelaikan keshean show nebo betutab rani. Agere kakoitot mi lock in ameche kityo tabwatwa alecho kampunit nenotok ko sponsor nechamwech asikosikchigeitu soet eng betusiek tugul ko kampunitab Optiven Property Limited kebeberta nebo Nairobi County ak kampunit nebo Tamu Life. Tamu Life ko notok ko eng karon nginget kora eng olimbo America interaktani ak kampunitab Tamu Life notok ko kombetab chai. Kongoi Kurgat Philemon Kurgat kale lock in episode 64, asante sana all the way from UK. Urna Daniel Ngetich from headquarters olimbo Kadesako olimbo emetab Western Australia. Agere Linus Koet kale following from Moiben. Kongoi chitab Moiben olimbo county nebo Uasin Gishu. Ameche kityo omwawech unamchinech ano tonight. Ameche kityo tabwatwok sikebe agenge eng agenge. Agere kakoit my panelist akoit balozi kong'ete olimbo Wayo. Agere kakoit engineer kora komi olimbo Florida. Ameche tabwatwok akobo boisiet netotok kiborye nebo Daktari Joel Kimeta notok kikicherugei ko ki timit nebo Igere Nee Chitab Kalenjin. Kero ole kiro ngotko beku kenyini ko kakwo Daktari ona modern studio ngolimbo county nebo Kericho. Sheila Chepkoech kale following from Iten, asante sana biikab Iten olin karibu Iten eng Elgeyo Marakwet. Ameche kebe kecrossen kong'ete olep Adelaide kebe agenge eng agenge akoi olimbo Owayo kenyoru balozi amune olabo Owayo.
Kongoi osea kongoi kasubik chok eng olomite tugul. Shaila Chepkoech kekerin ngorolinas Kipkoech kelen kongoi koskei Romin mongen ale imyano Romin kale miten Nairobi kelejinin karibu. Kimeche kityo kelejin share and like our program yekibendi ketesetai. Ko Daniel Ngetich karibu sana. Philemon Kurgat kelejinin karibu. Chep Yator kelejinin karibu. Akwek tugul cheosubech eng takwek cheomi kelejin karibu. Kichamegei eng olebo Ohio kaitit lakini maya mising, so nekit kenokilen spring osea ko makiyachen. Ko mongen ameche kebe akoi kebeberta nebo Florida sikekas kele amune engineer kotom keit yotok kemeche kibwotwok akobo Tamu Life kelecho yemeche chaik ye chaik imuchi ibir simet sikobit kiyokun chai chotok sitestai. Kongoi nye engineer because imuchi promoten anan ipromoteni chaikab Kenya eng olep America. So kimeche kora kelechok boisie kibagengeit anan kampunit Optiven eng olimbo Nairobi yemeche ichengchigei mbar memeche osirgei ak chi ikur icheket sikobit kotoretin kocheng'un kabungui kidogo. Ko abwoti ale nekit sikonyo director inendet Dori Chelagat sikikonak nambarishek chotok cheimuchi ibir asikobit kotoretin. Imukakse kora iyai nokilen indoi down payment ak ilipan, so ngong'alal konyumnyum inyorchigei mbar eng olimbo Nairobi. Kongoi eng choto sponsors chechoket kakoitoonyo eng betutab ra ko kaking'etye kebebertab Nairobi akebe akoi olimbo Melbourne Australia. Kimite rani Australia, the land of kangaroo. Ole mi Osea mi south komi chito ne mongen ale mi west anan mami west, abwoti sikomwoiwech ko meche kelecho karibuni sikisup toonyo nebo betutab ra. Kimeche sikokekur kokatech engineer amune olobo Florida anan imyeno ra, so agere kityo Tamo Live, so mongen ale mi Florida anan mi California. Karibu.
Kongoi balozi akosea ak tonyo nebo rani Mr. J Lagat itagat kabisa ak eng kasubik chok tugul achame akata karonenye rani eng olie Florida. Agere mi bole balozi korobon olinyo uakoit ropta na komito olimbo Australia nga mao mising nguno akolangwang kora kilen roboni, but here we are doing good. Tunashukuru Mungu. Betuni brani we are very lucky ketindoi tonyo akabwati ale kibendi kinetige ngalek chechang akecheraksei tugul. Asame kelonge tunenin onge share show nenyo nebo rani ake likean YouTube page nenyo sikobit keityi biik chechang. Angot biik chomi Facebook kesame kele please so like our YouTube page sikobit kotakeityi biik chechang. Kongoi balozi.
Kongoi nye engineer imite kebeberta Florida ko meche kityo kekur toot kokatech sikenai kele kimite taweku ngongoi Tapnyolei kale isubech eng olimbo Dubai kelejinin karibu Mayo Chelagat kosubech kobun Bungoma. Karibu sana chito Bungoma. Abwoti ale tom kenyoru chi kobun kebeberata kelenin karibu to Kiplangat watching from maana ala kale mnyono chichi Northern Territory abwoti ale Australia lo Timothy Kanda kosubech kobun Nairobi kelejino karibu. Kimeche kityo kokatech toonyo kole chamgei sikenai kele kakoit ko karibu sikemwoiwok toot nebo betutab ra. Toonyo number 64 ko inendet kekure Kipkeny J Lagat. Kokinyorchi Melbourne Australia toonyo number 64 anan 64. Karibu toot katech kityo.
Kongoi balozi Janet Osea. Yeah, I would like to take this opportunity to say hi to everyone and to the panelists and thank you for having me.
Kongoi nye Kipkeny J Lagat ko soko kenai kele J ko no kotelelchine Joseph John anan ngiro ko soko mwoiwech lakini ketesetai ko kakoit toonyo kakokas kokatech kemeche kemwa kele kongoi kakinyorchi toondo nito kebebertab Australia ko kotomo keit yoto ketou tetutiet ko Osea ameche teimwoiwech ile isubech ngo ako tekibwotwo akobo Optiven kampunit noto mitei kebebertab Nairobi. Ngimeche ialchigei mbar ipirchi simet bichutok sikobit kotoretin akomuche kora kotoretin ial mbar eng kebeberwek chechang chebo emetab Kenya, ma Nairobi inegei. Kelejino karibu kibagengeit nebo komonut akibwotun akobo Tamo Life yekitesetai atya kimakiutye kora Ndonyo Mart yemeche imaketan kibagengeit anan ko kampuning'ung ipirchi Ndonyo Mart sikomaketanin worldwide. So kongoi kibagengeisiek choto toretech ko Osea mwaiwech kityo ile isubech ngo sikobit ketou.
Kongoi balozi Peter Rono. Agere chi nekikure Nelson Pate kale following from Turkana. Kongoi chitab olimbo Turkana County. Asante sana. Sicheng'ech kimeche sikebwa county nebo Turkana sicheng'ech Cornelius Kipchirchir Mayo kale kom sa KJ karibu sana listening live from LD seeing you all. Asante sana engineer Cornelius Kipchirchir Mayo. Asante sana Carol Chias Asero tune in from Nakuru. Timothy Kanda asante sana chitab olimbo Nairobi. Ak biik chechang kabisa chakere kakoingian kubun takwek cheterchin ameche kityo Stanley K. May kale following from olimbo JKIA Nairobi County. Asante sana. Ameche kora ameche kora recognize asante sana Manuela Kimboy ak timit tugul mi sabwet netesetai eng olimbo Tulwa Mutuny nebo angot Manuela ko one of us, one of our team kotunishe chito oret Leni lejini pos ak kwandanyi Rael congratulations. Welcome to the club. So congratulations teamit ak kemi ke streaming it tesetai eng olinda kora. Kemi full screen kakimi koboto Daktari Joel Kimeto ak kemi kebeberta nebo olimbo Tulwamut. Ameche tikibwatwa kele kora ngot imache streamen, ngot itinye igorta eng olimbo ground, ngot imeche kekofanun live icheng'ech inboxena anan inboxen chi age tugul nebo timit nyo ak kemuch ak ketoretin ak keyaun boisionoto. Kwain Warren, asante sana. Agere balozi kosut keunek biik ang kebeberwek tugul ak kakoit tetutiet konainik tugul ngetwei tetutiet nebo betutab rani.
Kongoi Osea, tekemwa kongoi Stanley Kemei kosubet from JKIA Nairobi, abwati ale airport no, Wine Warren, ole mite kelejinin karibu Kapsabet, kelejinin karibu Cornelius Kipchirchir Mayo, kole isubet kobunana anyun. Kelejinin karibu na Nelson Bet, karibu sana. Karibu ngakwek tugul jo subet kimeche kele laikande program agi share asikobit ketestai ak imuchi isirwe comment Chepchirchir ngelech anan ngelech kelejinin karibu isubet kobun Melbourne, chitab kokwet eng olobo Australia, kelejinin karibu laikande program mwochi chi sikobit ketestai kokitou program nenyonet toot nyo nebo betutab rani ko inendet Kipkeny Lagat kobun kebeberta nebo Melbourne Australia, kokoking'etye kebebertab Nairobi ole kikitinye senge korani kakibwa akebe olimbo Australia. Kou kila ko kebebertab Australia ko emet neo kabisa ne abwoti ale wendi Kenya konyil chechang karibu 11, so o emoni kabisa. Kotindo area nebo 7,692,024 kilometers square. Kokerge no 2,209,69,907 square mile. Number lo ing ng'ony komugul tinye population nebo 25.7 million. Number konomak somok eng dunia census chebo 2020. Tindoi emoni mokornotet anan akimwa kele GDP nebo $1.37 trillion, number 13 eng dunia komugul. Ko ngepchei mokornotetab emoni koibe chitugul nemi Australia chepkondok cheite $50,844, number 10 eng dunia komugul. So igere ile mokoryo emoni ng'ering'en biik ako emet. Inyoru independence January 1, 1901 kobun emetab Britain. Australia ko naat kele land of kangaroo, ole kinyorchin kangaroo kityo tionyi kikure kangaroo. Ko kakinyorchi inendet kebeberta anan taonit nganaset neo nebo Melbourne Australia, ko emonito ko kiinde anan kikimit ng'alekab somanet, healthcare, research ak ng'alekab development infrastructure, tourism, ng'alekab sports. Kikimuch kerangan taoninito konyil 5 kele the most livable, yani negit kochome ing meng'otet ko kararan mekoschini tugun chetya, so kikerangan eng dunia konyil 5 consecutively. Taoninito ko taonit agenge netindoi restaurants chechang, tindoi ole kiamishe chechang kabisa ako chekororonen. Ang ng'alekab tindoi art street, ng'alek chebo choronisiet tukyo tugul, ko emet ne kararan kabisa. Biik chechang eng yoto komite Chinese chekikosetlan eng kebeberatak, ako negit kemwoe kele emet namba 2 nekiuchi biik chebunu Europe, mising ko biik chebo Greek anan Greece ak Italians. Chang Italians ak Greeks olinda bo Melbourne Australia, ako kakinyorchi taonyo kebebertab Melbourne Australia. Ngirutochi emonotok ko kararan iro ile keit olinda bo Melbourne, kararan kabisa. Ko karibu taonyo nebo rani notok kakemwa kele inendet ko Lagat anan ko Kipkeny Lagat. So kimeche ketou tetutienyo nebo betutab ra sikisub bandanyi kong'etege ole kikisikyin akoi ole mite nguno. Ko kou kila ko kelejinin taonyo inyendet Lagat feel free boisie Kiingereza ak Kiswahili ak Kalenjin ande mukoksei imuchi iboisie mongen ale kiboisie language ngiro ngolobo Australia cham kono kimwoe kele aborigine so mongen ngot iboisie kufloteni janat ak anendet so ngetyem cho somok chekingen ko abwoti ale eng betutab rani kebendi nokilen ladies first sikobit kotoiwech engineer Janet eng olimbo Florida ko kotom keit yoto kemwoe kele ngotikibwatun akobo Thermolife kibagengeit notok anan kampunit notok kotoretech anan sponsor nenyo ak Octiven kibagengeit notok bo kebebertab Nairobi yemeche ichengchigei mbar ing'ololji icheket sikobit kotoretin tokokekonin website tokokekonin telephone numbers ak contacts cheimuchi ibirchi asikobit iro ile kenyorchigei kiy ko kongoi Daniel Cheriot kobun kebebertab Eldoret ak akerin kora Adams TL mongen ale mnyeno Senge Mkubwa komite Wichita Kansas kelejinin karibu Chaps Lagat komite Melbourne so kakemwa kele karibu CP Kims kale following from Kiambu Kenya kelejinin karibu Homan Chelo anan Chela kelen Mimo University kelejinin karibu Grace Nganga kelejinin karibu abwati ale kale Misirisha kelejinin welcome to our program. So Engineer Janet, abwati ale kakitau tetutiet, you will start us as we go ladies first and then we continue from there. Karibu.
Kongoi Balozi. Ketau kemeche kenai kele tonyo nebo rani ko ng'o, kimeche imwawech kainaik kuk, imwa ile kikisikchin ano, imwa ile kibitchi ano, ak imwawech kidogo akobo family neng'ung. Karibu Lagat.
Kongoi, Engineer Janet. Yeah, thank you so much for the opportunity. My name is Japhet Kipkeny Lagat. J stands for Japhet. I was born in Uasin Gishu, that's Moiben, where I grew up in Moiben. I started my schooling in Lelai Base Primary. That's for preschool, and later on I joined Kuresiet Primary School from Standard 1 to Standard 7. Then later on I moved to Kosaichei Primary School, where I did my I finished my primary education, and I later on moved to Samoa Secondary School at that time, and Moy University, and I'm currently in Australia, and I did my I studied here Masters of Social Work. Family-wise, I'm a third born in a family of 9. Yeah, I'm a third born in a family of 9. 4 sisters, 4 brothers. Yeah, all of them are in Kenya. Yeah, and my parents, we currently live in Tarbo. That's where we stay. Yeah.
Kongoi Japhet, Kongoi Lagat for that introduction. Amache ateb kityongan Mr. Lagat at Ale. Do you have any good memories of growing up, like kiune sabengung as you are growing up as children? And how was it? Were there any challenges, any good memories as well? Karibu.
Yeah, thank you for that question. Yeah, growing up, the first few years, like the first 5 years when I was born, life was like smooth, okay, everything was okay. But at that time, we used to stay in Moiben with my parents, and later on, I will go back kidogo for my family background. Yeah, my ancestral home, Belgut, that's where my paternal grandfather was born. Igure Maina. So they later moved with his brothers all the way to after after colonialism started kicking in, and I think they were taxing the cattle, and they had to move down to Nandi, and later on they went to Uganda, and they came back to Kenya after independence when things were already. So in short, we were landless. We did not have any land as a family. So in Moiben, we were squatting in one of my dad's cousin land. Later on, we moved to Kamagut around Croatia. That's where now we grew up, and that's while growing up there, things was not that good. Kimogogara and life was it resulted to something that we ended up being totally homeless, where you and because the issue we were involved in a land conflict, which ended up rendering us and some other families landless and homeless for some time with no homes. And after that, it was really hard, and the conflict resulted to a lot of violence. And at some point, my dad was detained for a long time, for around 9 months, because of the conflict. And also, we lost our livelihood, cattle, and we could not have food. And at that time, we used to sleep in Tiangin. So that was our homes. So that was between 1989 and 1993. Yes, for those 4 years, we were like totally homeless without home. So that's how we grew up. Yeah, and later on, when things started going south, after experiencing all those turmoil, at some point, I think my parents, after the experience that we were, maybe the environment that they were bringing us up in was not that good. And also, there were hakukuwa na mpangilio yote ya yenye ops in future or anything. So things started changing at some point in 1992 when I still remember that day because it was one Sunday and I saw my dad and mom get ready, picked some, looked for Bibles and some, and they went to a nearby church, which is AIC Kuresia. Now that was our turning point. After they went to church, they came back, and the next Sunday they asked us to go to Sunday school. And after that, because we were squatting, and the place now was really bad. People were now fighting. It was a brutal thing that people almost lost their lives. It was a bad conflict. So they saw some part which was not occupied by anyone. But we shifted ourselves a few belongings. We set up some like shanties there, structures. Yeah, and from that we left like that area that was really not so good to us. And with the help of the AIC Kuresia Church, we started like building something like structure. Hiyo nyumba ya mabati yote juu chini, one room, and remember we are a big family, like a family. By then we are a family of 6 or 7. Yeah. So, and in between there, that's when my dad secured a job. Now things started working better, and from that, after a few years, I think that was 1995. Our homelessness and landlessness in our family came to an end when we were beneficiaries of a settlement scheme in Tarbo, where we were beneficiaries. So that's when we moved to Tarbo, and that's where we grew up, and we finished our schooling there. Yeah, and that's where I can call it's home from that 1995 up to now.
Ko Janet, pole Janet, ka jambanin. Ameche kotawekten kidogo in Japhet anan Arap Lagat. Kemwa ile kicham omenye tiang'inik, kibo mbaretab ng'o anan kichekwok tiang'inik anan kibo ng'o kimi mbaretab ng'o? Ak kemwoiwech kora ile kinyor baba neng'ung kasi. Ko kinyor kasi nebo ano? Kitom kocheng kasi atkinye, konyor kasi ano? And then nebo oeng ko yu kangemwa iboru kele kitom kosik bichu. Tos kicham kotom konai kole lion ko kuni kakinya kiba kanisa koik a turn around. So kisik asikobit ko turn around and what happened?
Yeah, I will go back. He gave me my Ben. We were going to church as usual. Yeah, we grew up. When we moved now to this other place, so we stopped going to church. They stopped going to church. It was a real misery. So this how we ended up being homeless. Conflicting, so it was between the government, the people who were being settled there, and us. So it was like fighting. So the police got destroying so and they couldn't allow us.
Ibo kiban mbaretab forest anan kibono, you know.
Forest.
Conflict ko between who and who?
Conflicts between the quarter families, the government, aka kimi big I don't know where they were coming from. So that's what was happening. So that conflict. So these other families protesting the eviction. So they were fighting back to retain their land. Alafu now the government were coming in to enforce and like so dismantle at some point police at some point so it was like destroying our livelihood so that we move out of there. But now our parents and some other families were fighting back to resist the eviction. So
okay. So Arap Lagat kaobe ngeba fast forward mu kaobe iboitin kakonyor baba nengung kasi.
Yeah.
Bobe settlement keep kealo lotok wasit kikichangan anan ki seven chepkondok so kwal olin sitastajana.
Yeah, after that turn around, konyor my dad kasi as a driver, Reply Woods company me Eldoret. That's where he got a job. And after that, there was a settlement scheme in Tarbo. So you remember during those days, they were like the government would set aside like a land and say those people who are landless are being resettled here. So it was like a court of public. They usually come and ask members of public in a barasa. Members of public matinya kegonin for free. You are being given 5 acres for free. So it was a government program to resettle those people who had no land.
Kongoi, Mr. Lagat, for that. And I cannot imagine how it was as a child. Must have had, some unfortunate experience, but here you are talking to us in Australia. Like after this turnaround, what happened? So kemwa ile gitar kiai class 8 kimutinano class 8 atya nyebitar agoi form 4 iyaine kirubne nguna after that Japhet. Karibu.
Yeah, after I did my KCP like in 1990. It was around 1998, yeah, at that time. But when I learned standard 9, at that point, they were still my parents were still struggling raise fee. So at that time, I remember I scored out of KCP that time. It was out of 700. So the first KCP I did, I scored 464. That's in Kosache. After that, I was Kegura Kipsangui boys. But later on, because of the school fees, my parents and my elder brother two of them were still studying at that time. No, one of them, Igago Tarne, the elder brother. So he saw money that time. So he couldn't get 2 years. So they persuaded me to maybe a year shit to Kotaras Form 4. Alafini the next year I will maybe go to the secondary school. So in that case, I had to repeat to go back to so my mom went back to my former school and asked the headmaster to allow me to maybe go back to standard 8 once more. And after that, I managed, at the end of that year, I managed to increase a little bit. I scored 492 out of 700. So, and the same thing, I was selected to join Kipsangui for the second time. So, and after a while, my dad, college, I think that time the parents saw that it was not, and they sent me to one of my my family, Jemi Nandi's college. Go to them, tell them to see if they can maybe look for you to join somewhere. So Alangari Tago Nandis. So the good thing koginga tuned ketaja baadaye komotabijota go Samoy secondary school. Kipkeny interview sirke gona admission. Yeah, and I studied there for 4 years, and after that I sat for my KCSE. I scored a B minus. Yeah, and apparently I missed. I thought I was going to make it to the Katmak, Kwenda University at that time, but Kimata Mekan. So at that time, Kogi, the score was really high. It was the minimum for boys or the male student at that time. The cutoff were B plus. So the rest B stand and below, you had to chat your way out, or you do parallel degree and all those. So at that point in Sasa, it really became hard. So I stayed for a while in Nandi Hills after KCSE. My brother was teaching one of the private schools there, my elder brother. So I hung around Nandi Hills. That year, I got a job, a manual job at Nandi Tea Estate. Yeah, ilikuwa ya kuweka mbolea the majani chai. So it was a very tedious job that I haven't felt fatigued like the way I did in the first day there. Because when I went back home to my brother's place, I kiawe total blackout.
Ko arab lagat amache ta ateben ang kokanyawek eng yo kitikin kele kinyoru kasi ko kaitar kainyoru B minus mata ko chamuni we university. Itebi eng yo kibisom kasi anan kikisomun anan I'm interested anale kinget besyo kile katebi eng yu ko mata university kakorokune ibisom kasi anan kikisomun.
Kibosom chike kasi one night kijam kemustoi karon sa tisa kemboi. So there were those foremen and the supervisors. So the first to reach there, maybe kimo kasi now kikontra nangit the first to come. Ukifika mapema unapewa hiyo siku, ngichelewa mtamu imenyoru. So at that time, the first day nikakosa amuki kiawe saa 11. So the following day I had to wake up like 3 o'clock. I managed to get maybe that day to do some top dressing, the tea farms. yeah, that's how I got the job.
So kiyai kotianit kasini akoi auyo?
Kiai for 1 month. After 1 month, ko back. Unajua ya kuweka mbolea ni seasonal, so it was like a 1 month thing. After that, go back top dressing. I moved back to Tarbo. I went back to home after that.
Okay.
Yeah, and after a while, go my former school, that's Kosache primary school. So there was shortage of teachers. I'll give them maybe untrained at that time to work as untrained teachers. So our former school, the committee and also supporting with the parents. Serious teachers ko supporting other teachers. So that's when I went there and I started teaching. So it was like a voluntary thing because the parents at the same time 1,500 per month.
So arab lagat so kainyoru kasini kaiweka olimbo in Tarbo ibitestai isom kasi nebo sukul. What subjects are you teaching? Ineti subjects ingircho?
At that time I was teaching English and geography and social studies, geography, and some classes I was teaching Swahili.
Okay.
So, but standard 8 I was teaching English. I think standard 8.
Wow. So at least you can teach class 8. So igere ile maya. So
yeah, I
I was curious kamang gitangin samoe atenyo ko mwalimu inet, so I was curious gineti subjects ne, but Janet testai.
Kongoi. So after ara kinetishe ako yao because kimeche kisup your journey ako, how was that experience nebo kanetishet for you?
Yeah, the experience itself, Ngagi, it was not much rewarding financially. So, but it was more rewarding, value-wise, and maybe instilling some values and owning some purpose in life. So, I thought therefore that was 205. I taught for one and a half years. 1.5 because I remember the first standard 8 start for the KCP. Yeah, and I posted impressive scores with in English at that time. Yeah, and in fact the school the parents got some money to give me as a reward. When I get it almost 10,000 as a token after I posting those impressive results.
What were the impressive results? Do you mind sharing? Kiset and record.
I don't remember like specific mean score, but there were like 2 or 3 A students in English, which had not happened for some time.
Wow.
Janet komeche atebole ara koimongu results kotakobwat bichu kole ara kaikai kimut chichi kwo college amu kakenyoru mwalimuyot ing yu, because you are a potential. I don't know, because kemongu chito nekemongune Samoe nyeinet Kingereza inet Kiswahili kosir lagok koboiboitu sigik kele oye means ko kakwo barak, kotakobwat chi ngoloto bakosache kole oye ara uni chichi kotomo ko untrained kakinaktae kwa college sikobit kotonyokonetwech lagok anan kirup ne engineer mongen.
Yeah, there was some teachers and parents who suggested some teachers and parents that I go. I remember going to apply for TTC slots. Yeah, but unfortunately at that time, school fees, because I had other siblings and there was no one to pay school fees at that time. So I still had other siblings who were already in secondary school. me enough resources ka. So koki kima ta a proceed na akawa a join na TTC at that time. Later on, at some point, I planned marathon. I had some cash. I planned marathon. I bachelor's of education. It was English major, English, and then geography minor. I got a admission later. So, but after taking it to my parents and maybe discussing, matago working out. So, Kigabun, there's one friend of mine. Like he was a friend from high school. So Kiga enrolled in Yata nursing, and we were like very close. Yeah, it's been a good friend for all along, and he's even here with me in Melbourne. So he's the one who came here to us. So Kiga your admission. So he told me, why don't you come and try? So about your admission, but later on I got the admission, but I didn't pursue that. So I went back. I went back to teaching. Yeah, till somewhere in 2006. Yeah, ko give me recruitment of a police that time. Ko gigagas ki jam mo in advance. Jai ko sebi recruited ni police at maybe this year. Ki jam mi calendar. Inga till by June, April, June, July. We give me recruitment nearly every year. So at that time, koki gagas kuno, so kinga wendi school ni anetishe. I started training. Kijama angetek asubuhi karon ama achobaga anetishe. Alabat around some kilometers. Yawendi karibu 6 or 7 kilometers. Nyaunge aeja akawe anetishe.
So Arab Lagat kenyoru baraton.
Yeah.
I barwet kwaga ipkoger sigigelechi na ye memukakse ngalekab fees.
Yeah.
Iamwan iwege ibinetishe ngole cham inetishe ngolimba kosache.
Yeah.
Ngimi katikati kele ikase about ngalekab police recruitment. Kikase radio, kikase G anan gazeti.
No, just for grapevine. Ja ikase bikolen me recruitment in future. So ile kusikia tu kama rumors. So to get myself ready, I mazoezi within I think from March, and fortunately by your May a recruitment nagi for administration police.
Kikiayano in recruitment ni ako just tell us about preparation. Kai prepare ni labati 6 kilometers. Pesien nekibendi yuano cham kekose ngap kemwochi nosea kelechi kokile kiyoe recruitment kimeche kelechi Janet kiyoe recruitment kele kokile kimeche kinde 500 chekindo olo chekikochin chi mongen ale chelion cham biik chewoktos kolen kwakoite kibirwo ake kolecho kwakoite mongen ngot kesiro. So kichopkei nyai betut nekibendi recruitment yuano akibiyai ne.
Kiachopkei kingoit betutab recruitment awe Eldoret, kikiae 64 stadium. So fortunately at that time kitom koet ngalekab silingit kuye kikoet sai kitom koet. So kokikiruai as per divisions. Kikindai big clusters. Every division will compete by themselves. So kingoitane ba Tarbo division kiandaech to get time nebo physical fitness ngalekab kerwai. So it was 2-lap race. So at the start korwai big up. So korwai kometo kapsa kimeto karibu nusu uwanja kwa kongalanga mazoezi je kwae. So, but at some point, aro bendi the second lap, gagi mogotinye endurance, gagi go build an endurance. So I started like beating them one by one. So the negi lead then, nega mushindia kwa line, and I was like from the behind. So I ended up being the number 1 in the division, and that's how I was enlisted.
So ngele ki okwanen mazoezi nekiyoe ako kiib ne iwendi in Arab Lagat kingiwendi ko kineche kiib, what did you take, kiib certificate ne, I don't know.
Kiachop kianam all the certificates jebo KCP, KCSE, living certificates, ID, aka kigai computer packages. So getting a computer. So that's how I, and the eve of the recruitment, koki awe kamuki kilo kiagero guya lo atosa chalewa na subui. So kiawe barune kapteliaga na ki quotas ki bo district hospital na mo in referral sai. So ki barune ya by sa recruitment kitau 8 lakini kiawe sa 11 kama ngot. So I think 6 kuanja, so and it was starting around 8.
Arab Lagat maibar kwa na sukul na ibaru kele ingele ki mwalimu so you know job experience amu ngot ketep kele konu tuguk alak ele you know mo atiet ko, you know, I don't know maibar kwa na bo yin chotok.
Maketep angot.
But kage kaiwe ilabat iyo ko namba agenge kesirin, then what?
Yeah, King Esra that time, so it was a big relief to me. It was a big relief because I think it was in my family, I was the first person to get maybe like a formal job in the children. So like a permanent and pension, I think you understand. So
kagesirin you were police and angewe, which department did you go? Did you military? What is it?
Administration police.
Oh, administration police.
Yeah. So so you after that go get enlisted, join training about 9 months in Gambakasi. So I did 9 months nagi kiwi lagene going gilani buat sabet na pagawalin koi igili at some point he check up without a single coin in Lale for 6 up to 7 months my missile in Lale. And you get a big kwe mamagatiata subui kwa mdani ni imi yamejemi. So it was a really tough one, but with the determination of in the long run go graduate and later on in the year 2007. So after thereafter ge postena aba iga Lamu.
So giwe postena ni Lamu. Ako in kita nakataret ing nyo ko inye ko kiayai kapchai abwati, you know, ngeweke let ing yun ko inye ko kijamia top tracing kele kingwanotak nyeiwe kosache inetisye nyeyai tukchu tugul chu kakeposteni ni Lamu. Engineer mangen kot komi ki neimeche itesyi ing yo kawo chichi Lamu atya korubano.
Kanatak nekalen atep balozi ako kameche ale kiitano ranks chebo police. Ako kiune experience nebo police as a police officer nguno. Atkan kora kelen police we speak from the other side, but kimeche kekas kele experience nengung ko kiune, now it's from the horse's mouth nebo police. Karibu.
Yeah.
Chechang ngokerin chechang Arab Lagat ngoker polisiot kokere corruption. Sorry to say that. Ako ngumaker corruption komwe chito yani ngaker karitab police ane komameche kabisa, so mangen ale une Janet ak Hosea ngyo. Kingomi pikipiki Hosea ngoker yun kotil shortcut kwa mago ngokawendi ole kotil kol. Kotebe customer kole kewono kole achame sikomwochi baadaye kole kaker polisiot.
Ngotane kimakanye police shot, but hopefully nowadays it's better.
Yeah.
Karibu. Like,
Yeah, same thing to me. Before I joined, you got the same. Bearing in mind that the past man you go getting a trauma already. All the homelessness go picture inflicted go police at that time. Kamata mo at some point ko kigiegu guests kigimengej malagine ki my mambo gi activist ki mogo yani he protested most of the time. He went as far as blocking the motogen of a president ko protest on that eviction. So most of the time, gingo police, the nature nebo lagok, they are protective of their parents. So ginya gena mama, ke bendi to gena majib ke wira sel do kolel to ke tebi ko yu keri ranya sa kumi sa kuna moja ke tiaja ke bwaga gena mkuteguno so I had a a really bad experience at that time. So I've also kijami feel any pain. Mugi get beginning of detain and my dad at Kenya Mugi get detained for almost 9 months and so I had really bad experience in
so
person.
ngakitindai experience. So ngakitindai experience no by Rusel as a child. Wow, that's
Yeah, it
something
was.
else, but
Yeah,
okay.
the Eldoret police station. Yeah.
Wow. Anyway, testai mwawe chile experience na nko kiune as a, as a police officer au tano en ranks chuku.
Yeah, after that King post an alarm. Yeah, that was like after posting Gogianyoga at some point. Yeah, the Gona Cruiser Kogaiwer station at Chaiwagaga. So Ginganyoka, so Komangala was the best way is now to maybe think about furthering your education. Then there was also a close family member, Nagibor Wakwagas, I went in recruitment. God rest her soul in peace. She passed away. So kinga awake at that time, kogura awakwage, achakwalo present and about arte. That's a younger, yeah, achakwalo this your present. So, but and one thing that she told me, yeah, you got a job. So I don't want you to come here telling me that you want to get married. If you come that way, I will give you a hot slap. I want to hear you coming and saying, I would like to go back to school. So that was a real, yeah. So could you talk yata? So koginga weke lam, I started processing that like dream of going back to school. Mind you, I had posted a good grade, so here I could manage to go to university if I got someone to sponsor me or I had an avenue. So, and also things used to happen within when I was working there. I think my character-wise, kogi attractani some big people, NGOs, officers, senior people. So most of them used to call me to their houses. What are they seeing in me? Colleagues, me family. There were families like Catherine, Dean, and there were families picture senior people. You go to me, you families kipat ligo and picture run an NGOs, television NGOs ngolo. So I was the only young person at that time in early 20s. So and they invited me to attend a party about picture married people who are like more older than me. In some way, I can say they were like my parents. So but I later one of them, don't be surprised. We invited you yourself. and we left out others because we see something special in you. So that thing really got trick on my mind. What's this special thing that people see in me and maybe they don't see in others? So during that conversation, Dina nagikiome ate ko treat na ko na treat ko ostrich egg. So these are only for married people and senior people. So but you are sharing the table with us today. So and they now started challenging me that background about education and my score. So the pressure came from there. What you should be thinking is going back to school, because think where you will be in the next 50 years. Are you satisfied where you are at the moment? You're still young and you can still make some stride academic wise. So that thing prompted me for a while. So at some point kogi mi university nagiya site nebo I think Kilifi. There was a I think Kenyatta University. So but ya mangani a plan at a challenge transfer doga muki alena tiam amuki lo. So komato ka tenebo ko genya I enroll in nyundo. So after like a year, quite transfer. Get transfer na hawa Siaya. So ginga was Siaya. At the same time, get transfer na Siaya. More university was starting a campus in Siaya, like. So it came to my mind immediately when I was new there. Kogiga mapaning mind the best thing to do is maybe try to see if I can talk to someone to maybe kogona baigas let me university in case of anything I enroll. But after a while, my line it didn't work well. At some point, there were no much support. But one time, konyo senior officer kogi approachable. He was more approachable. He someone who was very religious. So I remember talking to one of his drivers at night. I would like to meet this person. Explaining that time kogi gave me under provincial administration. Administration police that time. So they're the one who were making decision at that time. So what he told me, he said something powerful. He said that I fear God and I don't want when I go to heaven, God will ask me one of the mistakes will be standing on the way of someone with ambition who would like to empower themselves. Well, I better answer other questions, but not like why did you not support this person to achieve their dreams? So which was very powerful. So go motivate another. But after that, I went to the university. I did just to visit the campus, like a brochure. So I got our courses. That's when it struck me that it's very expensive to enroll, because the programs there were in hundreds of thousands of parallel students per year. And at that time, you were earning like 10,000 Kenyan shillings. That's a gross salary. So, and I'm required to pay 134,000 per year for the 4 years. So that's like, so I'm going to deposit this 10,000 and go get 134 see paying for the 1 year.
So Arab Lagat, ko you in Siaya ibiker brochure ko chepkondok komi barak kunotok kemwa. Ako keng'alal eng yo ile kibing'ololchi boss neng'ung'et, he was approachable. Tos imwa ile in simatestai polisiek chechang anan ui kenyor bosses chebo your bosses imi police amu iboru kele yoche ibun chi age sikobit iityi, ako simanyor biik ambition ko amu iwei chemogoikwak. Ako kikoisoman yekai anan kot ko kiwe sukul ko kinyorchine chepkondok?
I'm coming there. So kokinga kemwa ngalekab maybe knowing someone and being a discipline service komi that nene ako suppose isub that channel.
Hierarchies.
Ako most thing ko kasi ko challenging in a way. So ko yanun chito iwe sukul ko kakwam time nebo uya ke sacrifice and biik alak ikere kwawun kasi amu lazima amu makoi sikchi kora if study leave ako suppose imi kasi. So kokingoit that time, so kokingobit challenge about school fees that time. So amu ki baada ko raisen college that senior officer ngo salary amu kilecha you have to apply through me ndio ni forward ndio tuone kama utapelekwa karibu na kama telenegite school. So kokinga plan koro fee structure kolecha ina munano rabinichu kobetu as mamwochi kaleji kityo I think I will give it a try. Atia baadaye ko kinga we Siaya komi two housemates chekipkeshean go. One guy bunu Kericholi, I think I can mention him, Edwin Kirui. So later on I learned that he was Kichitab Oret. That's where my our remnants chekingo wango tago meto pigalak walinda. So get to yeji yundo keshan go. I will be another guy nagi. This friend, this housemate nagi anana nagi chorwa. Kogi one of the few the first graduates get employed in police. So he was a graduate teacher. He got a business maths teacher nagi graduate name as in a university. So this other guy ko kipo olinywago Busia ko graduate na Mo University electrical engineering. So nya keshan go to. So ko that crisis amwaja sale jamu alejuni atinya this ambition agere it's challenging, it's hard to get these funds to raise enough funds to go back to maybe enroll. So they ended up doing something extraordinary that he might expect any. So this other guy, this other friend, Gigure, I can mention him as well, he's a good friend, Gigure Henry Maduli, Kwani Busia. So one time he told me, with us, he's a guy with a sense of humor. So he told me, wenda jaribu kwa nini unaogopa kuanza, si enroll ushindwe ukuwa na story in future kuambia watu nilienroll nikashindwa. So I shared with them that I don't have much money. So he advised me that I was a member of SACCO at that time. Go to SACCO, get 10,000. When I went back to the university, the minimum that will get you enrolled, you have to raise 20,000. So surprisingly, these two friends, housemates, which are 5,000, we are giving you 5,000 each of us. Seeing it at 20,000 see enroll. So that's how I managed to get the 20,000 to go and enroll to pay the fee so that I enroll for the program. So that time I had applied for admission to do Bachelor's of Science in Human Resource Management, Moi University.
You were Human Resource Management, Moi University. Mi kasi, iyoe kasi, itestai kakerin yo i-graduate ni, so kitestai bi graduaten, and then itestai kora ing kasit kong'ung'et, kikoinye graduaten, ites rank ing police anan kilya kirup ne. And how was it? Iyoe chu tugul chu. Iyoe kasi ak imi sukul, iyoe kasi police ak imi school. How was it?
Ki challenge amu sometimes kiyoche iip kasisiekab kemboi sinyoru nafas, shift chebo kemboi sinyoru nafas iyai kasi iwe school bet. So kiyoe chitab kemboi kityo night shifts. So I opportunity sanyor opportunity to go to school daytime. But at some point there were some other, I think there was a new posting of senior officer. No, huyo sasa akakuja akanipeleka kama clerk kwa ofisi yake. So na akanipatia freedom, something that whenever I have class, I can go to class and come back to the office. So haiko kama karani wake the office ne I documents, type on letters, correspondence. So kwa rahisi kidogo, flexible, amuki mata wendi, I was no longer doing jebo kemboi. But another challenge, ko gimata kiuit kora sabet ang school fees. So I was lucky enough ko magete school fees for the rest. Amuki kimaja around 70 something thousand for the first semester, then 60 something for the second. So they didn't ask for me to clear the fees for first semester. So I went to the second semester with arrears of nearly 100, almost 100,000 and 110. So go it, and at some point, at that time, ko me a classmate nanyo, one of our classmates in Samoa. So he's an athlete. He used to run when we were still in school. At that time, he was winning big marathons like London Marathon. So he close and now he don't get a lolly at at some point I think I'm running low of joint roll and so pesho go bura get hotel Eldoret. College anyo get to one of the hotels in here.
Ko Arab Lagat ngonitok. So I mean this is somebody who did something good. So
I will mention
nice
him. Igure Emmanuel Mata.
Emmanuel Mata.
Yeah. So
Gugure Emmanuel Mata will rate kolya.
Ko booster na he gonna 40,000.
Oh wow.
Yeah, ko gonna 40,000. Balaban visit to guy. Then kidogo my dad and my parents ko chengo ko happy CDF that time. So annual 20,000 CDF. Una ko komoriang the year sasa first year
Ikamalizika.
Yeah, so ikamalizika. So second year I koyaja sawe our boy Bangalore. I Bangalore na lipan for the second year. Jagi afford any whatever I was earning my income ko imo ko support na big loan. So ko ginga loan ko boost na second year. So where the issue started ko year crisis ko third year, where I was forced to not to proceed to do the exam for the third year second semester. No, yeah, it was second first semester, yeah, third year first semester. So I was bad from doing the exams because I had arrears. So and at that time I was meant to proceed for field placement, like field attachment.
Iyai
So,
ne, komate iwe iyai ne.
so matai the test, the exam. So I proceeded for field attachment. So one of my classmates in high school, he already managing one of the tea estates. So I talked to her, Korifana, to the HR by placement in Eastern Produce, Kenya Limited, K-Bond tea estate. So when I went there, I went without doing the first semester exam. So I proceeded for the field placement. If I field placement, and at some point, one of the senior managers related the lady, this other lady, the manager, the refer now on your field practice. So kogi baadaye ko nget this senior manager ko teba no college ko so and so. I can mention the lady Gigure Pamela Tekentan Chip. She was very supportive. So ko teba na this other senior manager college Gigure Peter Mayo ko tingen. College kimnya no linke inya to ko gigo tar classmates ngot ko managers ki kwamana no ngoran. So I explained to him that that was my journey and I was where I was at that time. So he became very interested. In fact, he turned on cars and go visa all the clerks I go explain and this is a person who's like, in fact, first semester na hapa anafanya all this. So he was really touched by my so motivated on you can do something like Arambe we can support. So kogitoma my mind at that time issue of to do with Arambe. So then there is one of my classmates, is a teacher, teacher cap Gure Kablel Primary School at the moment. Gure Julius Tanui. So I shared with him at the same time kokagumwa idea na Arambe. There is this school fees. There is idea of Arambe, but I don't know where to start from. So college, what they did is college look for a 32-page book, exercise book. Come meet me at one of the small restaurants in Andes. So I did that ago even though yeah I tuned up ke all your friends ingatile ndem mwele jinirani kukone 500 ingatile shua ile toskone 500. So I ended up writing kibadaye getare gejai karibu 60 people all legi ata kasi tokolo lin kongete Lamu picture yangan tokol yangatal. So baadaye college next week nyo akiyok chini bijota SMS age certain date ke leji ya Parambe. Yeah, so he supported to organize the fundraiser, Kokona ideas. We looked for kidogo.
So kongoi agere laban yego go subej eng angen ale subej ngono Judy Carrier ko subej kora ngebeberta nemite Wilson To ko subej Eldoret Naomi Chepto ko subej eng Kosajei congratulations in law abwati alagere in law nyo Makchiriot kale subej eng Western Australia Vicky Sati kongoi eng ole imite David Chebaywa kale subej kobun Kipkeny abwati ale Kipkeny Eldoret Cosmas Tuwei following from Nairobi. Chirwan Arab Chebu Mangana Langoni Arab Chiriwak Kosubet kora kubun Australia kele jinin karibu pretty Shiko Singh isubet from Mombasa karibu jita Mombasa. Abraham Rono following watching live kele jinin karibu ko mangena se alegere nga agere nya chudi kori kale isubet mangena le mnyeno karibu Laban Yego kage mwain Laban Yego ose mangena legere nga
Kongoi Balozi Peter Rono agere Cherori Koech na hata Pastor Moses Koech all the way from Melbourne Australia. Asante sana mchungaji. Benjamin Sugut all the way from Sydney, Australia. Irene Kojek watching from Olimba, Melbourne, Australia. Cranson Ledama, asante sana. Isubich kubun le mwawit ile inamjine chano Grace Nganga watching from Olimba ya Sirisha, asante sana. Big tukul niba Sirisha Olimba County niba Bungoma. Akti tukul ne isubich ageret amite kiteta sama longe shian onge laigan. Asikoishik ATV ketang ingin bauta brani agere Ruta Chofri watching from Olimba Path, Western Australia. Olimba Oreta Angot Arab Sajin Ango Steve CTNA akitwek tukul Western Australia. Asante sana kimi pamoja akongete taunet agoi kagesunet. Balozi chamwa kityo kenyoru studio angalio akobunu studio ujumbe kidogo 30 second atisiketestai ak sabarit nebo Chofri nebo Japhet Jake Lagat. Amete kebe agenge agoi studio kenyoru ujumbe akobun kampunit nenotok po Optiven sitiketestai ak sabarit tugul kochobe ketot siketestai.
Hi there, my name is George Washuri. I am so happy to see you, and today I am here to enumerate, to explain how we package our land investment. And the way we package it is to ensure that every single Kenyan can be able to purchase a piece, put the beacons, and then produce titles. That is 1 star. The second level, we call it 2 star. This is prime land, whereby we grade the roads, we put a marking fence, do the beacons, and produce titles, and this property is also not very expensive. It's slightly above the bare land. The third level, we call it 3 stars. This 3 star is value added plots. We do the malam, we do the water, we do the mesh fence, and there's a caretaker on site. It is called 3 star property. The fourth level is 4 star. 4 star is ready to build development. 4 star is a property that is ready for you to start construction. We do very nice maram roads, we plant the trees, we put the water tower, we also put a caretaker on site, and everything is ready for you to start construction. And then finally, this is our top of the top, the 5 star. The 5 star is premier, it's the top level. And this one, we do cable roads, we do.
Asante sana CEO George Washuri akambuni tugul nambarini kwa agomiyo awjengityo Dori Chelagat asikotoretok inamjige mbaret ing Olimba County nebo Nairobi. Karibu Balozi.
Kongoi nye osea kongoi kangebendi nyo meche ketiem keyai no kilen fast forward sikobit kisub toon nyo akakere kinyorchi inendet olinde kemi olep Kenya ole. So ameche kotomo keit olo koteb tebutiet nyo osea Arab Lagat ko kaiyai Harambee ne kakere koibori Harambee eng yu. Ameche kityo imwoiwech ile kinyai Harambee koi amu kakere graduation akoi bi graduaten eng yo akoi kikoikoit ano rank nengung kinyo kaitar korub ne kotom kenyorchin Australia ko fast forward for us ile kiyai Harambee kisulda Harambee nyeiwe sukul third year bitar fourth year ibi graduaten ko kikokote itanong ranks in police.
Okay, yeah. Thank you, Balos. Yeah, later on, he successful Arambe from the strategy of my friend, combined efforts. These are the mostly picture supported Samoa alumni 2003 group. So he at that fundraising in Eldoret Grand Prix Hotel. So at that time I ended up raising 120,000 towards my fee. So it was really a success. So Koginga raising job ko booster no. I ended up graduating with my bachelor's of human resource management in 2012. So 2012, this other graduation you are mentioning, that's for Australia. The other one.
Okay.
So 2012, I graduated. Then I stayed there after graduation. After 2 years, 2012, 2013, 2014, every year, ko jam recruit and graduates, give me recruitment. They usually take them for like promotional training, join cadet course. That time, it was lucky enough there was a policy if you already studied while you still at work. So jumulisha na pamoja go na trainer. So at that time, 2014, it was successful. I joined that group, and by the end of 2014, after that, like 6 months training, I got promoted to the rank of inspector. So later on, get transferred from Siaya to Bungoma, Sirisia, where you seeing those are my former colleagues, Jalemi Sirisia. So those are my colleagues where I used to work in. So in Sirisia, that's where the dream of coming to Australia started, in Sirisia.
So Kongoi biikab Sirisia, all of you are in Sirisia. Thank you so much. This is a gentleman that you know, he was your colleague. So imi Sirisia ko itasta ing Sirisia yaigase ko imangune olimbo Lamu iwe Siaya iwe Sirisia. Osea mongen ale kokinyoru chimuronon olimbo Australia. So take a net from there, Osea.
Kongoi Balozi Pitarono, and I appreciate any whole of fans na to chane chepto gere chitab kokwet nebo tot ak chi tugul chebo kebeberin cheisubich gere kitinye biik kabisa kwa wingi. Asante sana ngo Naomi noto ko ki alumni nebo program nenyo gere kosubich kabisa biik tugul chebo Samoe, alumni chebo Samoe. Asante sana kongoi Kipkeny Lagat kakinamchin olimbo Melbourne Australia ameche itakanet ile kikasta ano anan kakibushanin push factors chekimekanin ile ngamanda ngolin ko inspector akile ngapiman Melbourne, why Australia, why not? Ako kakase ketinye form nebo America, ako kiune the process. And then question number 2 ko what you are doing currently, tos ne neyoe ngolobo Melbourne?
And then siteshe kora in Arab Lagat ki ngenyoru, you know, kai inyoru about Australia inyoru. What did you do? Did you resign or what happened? And angibi leji biju umetane. What did you do?
Okay, yeah. Kongoi, Balozi, Osea. Yeah, the inception of the idea of coming to Australia, immediately after I was promoted, 2014, so there was one friend who was in Australia. So Kinyo, this friend came back from Australia to Kenya. So he shared to me that the situation. I got another thing. I was really pushing at all what was the driving force that was really pushing me to that was fueling all these ambitions. Kogi me that I really wanted to like cut the vicious cycle of poverty in Nga. So kia guy gas the police are getting my two guy that in the siblings they supposed to support them. Parents are getting go to they no longer so ki jambo yumakiota. And then the background also nagika grace where we came from. So I really the bush what was really pressuring me kogi completion to do something. So koginga alen adan 1+1 I get a promotion, but there is still a lot of things. And then another thing, okay, that's curiosity as well. So when this guy shared to me
So
this.
Arab Lagat kongi wonen promotion ko matasak kondo what really happened? You know, like now you are an inspector, did your salary go up? Ago number 2, mwaiweda ko ba jorwan ngung ni kiomi to high school anan Chitab kokwet anan you know how did he end up in Australia? Kanyo ko mwaun ko ki chito ne kiomi school tuwan ane.
Yeah, the person Neganyo gonna did the idea for classmate the high school is in Australia, and I think he was alumni of this. He was among the first. So he shared some ideas about coming to Australia and how the life was here. And then there was this other friend now, nagigimi baraton, so yeah, limalisa ma nasin yake kwa Kakamega. We've been traveling all along together, Maggie. So I shared this idea with this friend of mine, Maggie Kenya, to letting me this idea. This guy he already get on a project in Kigure Jackson Rotich. I think he's a really good friend of mine. Like he get traveling for nearly 20 years. So Ash Jama Atebe some ideas. So Kinga Moja, we can still make it here in Kenya. So I relax and ask dog. Then I don't know what really changed his mind. Konyo kawala kinende mbio ko process and konyo Australia more than kimoko tinya that nini. So it was really no. So I was like, yeah, what happened? He changed their mind. So kingo that time so the real pressure now. Yeah, Mogi, this is like a close person for a long time.
So kako ek pigo yang je pressure nin mita ko buang baka ko mita ti sa takai.
Me. So kako nyoni ako jita nagi close as nagi most of the time we can get me to get rutojini, so he was very close. So at that time, that was 2016. So things are really working well here, blah blah blah. Share good stories now. So at your recent man at that time kotokosit kidogo. So and at that time I was during that time I was getting married at that time now 2016. So I shared this idea with my wife. So it was a challenge. I'm young family. The young one was still very young. So Kesha and that idea, but I really grateful to my wife. Koyan ako support and this idea but ko keep quiet account at college arabina laktul jage ginyoru ke wire account nagi mo komiatiam gimo komina nagi quiet to. So we started contributing to that account ke jangani ke 70 towards jani yangu ya kuja Australia keep quiet account under her name atege getauge jama namaki access ani. So
Arab Lagat kemwa ile in kongito ba ngungu to mai Tunisia nan koi Tunisia ingele katebutiet age no nebo kimeche seketeb kele ki Tunisia. So ketou ba ngung ko koi Tunisia nan imeche si Tunisia nyu.
the first idea ko kitomo tunishe 2014 about applying passport, but later on in between 2015 at 2016 not tunishe. So that's now.
So taimi Sirisha. Okay.
So later on, ko this other friend konyo Melbourne, ko task ko share information like guni do this. Ako ek very chinangi tebe kaya walu naraka. So it was very very encouraging. This friend ko kiyagas na ko sir na nyo. In fact, he was earning some good money than me. So at some point ko lesin ngot ko gyameta ya nete no aginya tay bori na arata
nita ko Kipkambak and Jackson.
Nita ko Jackson Rotich. Yeah. So he encouraged and really pushed me hard. The picture ki slogan nyo kongete gave me a school all the when traveling together is what breaking the vicious cycle of poverty in the family. So we could not break unless this is the place where we can now achieve that goal. So we worked out with my wife. I'll keep an aspect secret. It was between me, my wife, a very confident, a very close relative. So it was between three of us. This Jan, got siblings. Season back up submit visa by the end of 2017. Kage raised enough money to pay for the school fees process. So
ojangani jaba sukul isunguna ngalali banda ba Australia ko mara ko mi bik che kasangnya so kolen kibangan ji ko meje kwa so ko sukul ne ke ma junguna nga Australia
kabangan school fees.
Okay. Ako ngalal ji je biyo se ngup ko yan golo unip ko yata ka on ko leginda site ngolo kongoi your wife negiyan ngolyondo ne konde kole meje kinde chepkondok yoche boin chumogi accessan akayat ngainenyi ko ketesetai ko ngoi Geoffrey mangen ale kere ngawase akere konye shida kidogo arab Lagat ko kakwa kwondonyi koyat account kotestai kunotok kachangan inendet nguno chepkondok chebo Australia mite Jackson olimbo Australia ko pusheni kabisa ako mi Kipkambok kongoi ngakwek tuwai amu kiobwat classmate ngwang akocher Philip Kemboi kelechinin karibu isubechin kolimbo Kapkawa abwati ale Kapkawa kwanolo Kapkawa ko mongen ale mnyeno ko ose mongen ale kero
Kapkawa ko turubu balose Kapkawa ko turubu kale
mi Kapkawa ne mito olimbo Baringo so konole notok lakini kami ne mi Turbo.
Turbo constituency Uasin Gishu County. Asante sana.
So maana alegero kon ngo tinye shida taot kanyonet.
Kongoi amire kora ameje ko teke recognize biik che isubechin kebeberwek tugul ama kibeke recognize ameje kora ta tikibwati fans chotok ko kasubik kyok che isubech kongete kingetau episode number 1 kimira episode 64 ameje kora teke samok akileji ken kenyini akiyai boisiet agenge one of our big dreams nebo 2022 ko kiro kele Daktari Joel Kimeto ko kaaban a modern studio ngolimba county nebo Kericho. So akisameji age tugul akamuji ale kiteje tugul tinye kamangunet kele kiteje koborok studio inotok ngimuji angimi olebo Australia Adelaide ngimeje support Joel Kimeto komuji ichenga kongiwe Melbourne komuji ichengji nekikure Charles Koech wakili kotoretin kokonin the way forward kongiwe Sydney Australia muji nyoru angot Millicent Chepwambok muji nyoru angot Arap Sukut kokonin the way forward ole much kongimi America komuji icheng balozi muji icheng Janet muji icheng chi age tugul nekikoek alumni nenyo nebo program akongoi bichu disubet edubet kale live from Olimba Uasin Gishu County kongoi kwan asante sana edubet akitugul atao akitugul kotikeshian makolos sikitugate akere tinye challenge Tanya kobun olimbo Gippsland Victoria, amang'u ale akaek challenging network lakini amang'u ale wekse.
Kongoi nyo Osea, agere kokorobon emonotok kakoektot ko keutie kora ile ngimi olimbo Bath Australia inyoru inendet Stephen Sitienei notok ko chairman nebo president nebo Kitwek ko inendet komite kebeberta nimbo Western Australia yemeche ketoret Pastor Kimeto irikyech anan iityech sikobit kiro kele kakiyai ki imuchi itoret eng or age tugul. You can buy cement, you can buy imuchi al koik, ngoitekin iwe ibitoretech yeku fundiyot ne volunteer sikobit ketar ng'olyondoni. Kongoi ngakwek tugul chekyokon eut kimi nekile phase 2 oketar phase 1 kibendi phase 2 kemeche kele ongebe tugul phase 2 sikobit kiro kele kakisuldae studio ini ko yerok kotun nyekeyat tugul December. Ko kongoi ko kakoitot ko abwoti ale kakochobok harambeit kang'ung'et kakeyai harambee keng'ololji chepyoset koyan ipkoyat account maumwochi chi biik somok chekemwochi. So sometimes biik cheisubech ko kakararan ng'olyondoni imuchi imwochi chi dreams chekuk kobar biik dreams chekuket. Imuchi nyemwochi kolechin makoi kimucho kele million ata chekemoche kolechin akiyononi 3,000 anan ko 5,000. So imuchi imuschi choronokuk anan classmates kekas idea no kakobun inendet Arap Lagat nekong'yonyo konyor mwalimu nebo Kaplelmet kolechi al kitabutab 32 pages akolechi sir all your friends chemuchi kokonin 500 kikoi kochangan 100 and something ipkotare sukul. Akotar sukul konyo konyor chepyosenyi komwochi kokas nin kolechi soso so komwochi biik somok kityo. Koimwochi biik somok Arap Lagat nyo changan kaisub ing'ololchi chorweng'ung kolin mi choronok oeng'u chekemeche kemwa kongoi notok ko Kibwambok ak notok kile Jackson ngotokosech kelechino kongoi amu kyoai ki nebo komonut. Kot ko nguno ngeng'ololchini taonyo komitei olotok komitei. So Arap Lagat kaichangan anan kaiyai kemwa ile kakararan ibesheiwech kaimwoiwech ile ki sukul ni iwendi. So ichangan chepkondochu kikoiyai harambee anan kiyai ne sikobit inyoru chepkondochotok akoinyoru admission koichop passport maishe imwochi chi iyai process tun kait yu asikur biik ko kiyai ano ng'alechu. Kail banas nebo olimbo Australia nguno ko mi tikitit mitei mongen ale fees ko kiyata ako at what point nekinyemwochi biik ilechi mi ng'olyo nekokechop nemi yu nemeche keyai sikolen biik ara kitoune ano ilechi acha kokeyai nusu. Arap Lagat.
Akoteshi tos ne boisho kitinye boisho kwanda neng'ung amu kemwa ile kicham kowirech ache kiwire chekuk anan kiasola kityo eng olimbo kurgat because sikonyor biik that and information.
Kongoi. So when it reached that moment that, what's happening?
So korom olimbo network eng olimbo so kasubik kyok okot emet nito bo Australia kora ko roboni ako mi shida kora nebo network. Muche koteb chi ngolobo Eldoret olimbo kosache kole ala ami ng'oliotab network olimbo America anan olimbo Australia. So roboni emet ko ngoroboni komuch kobit tuguk cheu chu. Joshua Lagat following from Kericho kelechinin karibu Edu Bet kale kongoi kwanet Uasin Gishu County. Mongen Osea agere nekile Timan Kirwa kale watching from Kirinyaga County kelechinin karibu chitab Kirinyaga. So kitinye shida nebo network kitigin eng kebeberta nimbo Melbourne Australia korobon olotok kabisa anan kirobon kebeberta nebo Sydney mongen ale koit olinda ropta Osea anan une ole omi agere ropta emi.
ropta kabisa balozi angot Queensland Australia kokorom kasit kamwawa Dennis kokoromi ropta Queensland olimbo Brisbane ko ropta kabisa. Yenyo Sydney akitinye angot fan nenyake nekocham kosubi program ini kale korobon ipkoibe ropta karit karibu betusiek 3 ako kikabakan so kokorom kasit so okergei bicho boisiek chomi olabo Sydney ole kebakane karit koshiro korok amu ingete karon komenyoru karit komi parking so korom kasit. Ropta oripkei kabisa. Oelgei angot Millicent biik tugul chobo Sydney. Korom olimbo Sydney.
Kongoi agere kakoek kongoi agere inye shida arap Lagat so karibu sikejakte kunoto arap Lagat.
Sorry for the mishap ngalekab katema chajaitab computer but it's okay now. So kokinge koita time so makiarambe so at that time kokimataya amu ki after promotion kimisiling barak kidogo.
So arap Lagat ge account kayate chepyoset kokiawir kot koyam banda.
Ki amu fees chekimagena ko ki 800,000 the school fees lakini ko ngalekab ata visa fee back process alako kokiwendi karibu 900,000. So at some point koki yoto sinye kengalali nguni ketau kewire ko 2016 so kikichangan for nearly 1 year kewiriwiri whatever I get at some point kemushini kora choronok alak aka kutiliet kamona lejinen kipoto kemwachini ngalechu ko kisupportenech kora kidogo rabinik kinyatawa yakini ko kaanyor.
So ko kingiboendi biyote account ko otinyata nguno juta 900 ko otinyata.
Ngiyata account atinya 300. Later on idea nebo ko atinye sako kora ko kiachanga shares in sako. I had around 200,000 out. So asam another sako loan with my shares for 400,000. Aten ko juna Lagat open up savings kidogo ko by that time quite alipan school fees ko by that time nagagitishan school fees I already had 800. So
wow.
So that time we got plan to do my masters of international community development Victoria University and between I did all those mpaka apply visa. So
ameche kora kote imwoiwech eng yu kakatebo sea kole ae kasi chepyosengung anan ki asala. So and then number 2 ko at what point kaiapply school kainyoru admission kailipan fees at what point nekinye imwochi biik ilechi uni ki safari ko because ngap ko kararan kora meshean vision nengunget amu yeshean kou kakimwa komuchi kobarin biik kolechin oye kele ata 900 kolechin memukokse cho kosimanin cho so inye ko kikiben ko kakekibenchi biik somok. At what point nekanye ilechi biik pass kiawe kolechin biik ara sikeyai ne ilechi acha maya kwanyit choto.
Yeah, so kikimanajan kereisen ba plan visa koto kisomok chekengen. So kinyo konai biik ko kamang visa lejo yo kakochei banda. Ako another thing nekikai maamua kora ko kiagere kikatanyoru promotion kityo ndakiashani ak biik ko kitaegu ang like fear of the unknown. What are you doing in case what happens? So I didn't want those kind of maswali mingi jate baby kolara iwen angasi tita ine tukun jajang jojo and another thing kora ko family kita ko young family kage ko shinaje. So my wife ko gimo kwa kasi she's a secondary school teacher but kitom ko nyata kasi that time. So she was teaching like
me untrained teacher kora ay barua
ki trained na that ki graduate na ba Masinde Muliro. So
okay.
Graduate
so kongoi amu ine Raisi kolen biik ingele ngot ko kayoku inspector atya nyilechi biik kiawe sukul ko raisi kelechi ui matare oker weru ne makararan met because kameto kasi komeche kometo lagok family ne mining kele makararan met chichi lakini kongoi amu ngot kokasech your wife keleni kongoi amu kielewan ako kongoi amu kiib hatua koyat account kotomo akot ibwat inye ile ameche ayat account nekindoi separate nyowir whatever she was getting owir yotok ngiposutukani otinye 300,000 iteschi chebo sako koek 400 nyeiteschi chun ang chun kakonye so testai eng yotok arap Lagat so kakoingian ngalechu kaimwochi biik ibreaken news kikoi keai pati anan kipasuan akiwe kityo
kingamwaita ale kako at first uni kingaai tukchu tugul ko kitom koitan ana ale uni kimasure ale another thing nekikaanget nini to go slow not to let other people most people know what if it failed so I really wanted to avoid all that kind so I prefer so kingo through amwaita later kota ko surprise bi ko yaita no blah blah in fact tangot boss na nyo ngap kasi le ngole jangaru sa ju chami sa magala ile na laban Nairobi nga gitinya nga so it was but I thank God she was a very good boss very supportive so I did like a small farewell the kigijob amu king among this visa all that abrupt in fact ki tana reality as among visa amugi I was still thinking that it's something like a joke it might not go through so gingo within and then at that time also I'm a writer so that time I'm going to publish my book just a week to komango kitabu komango visa ke publishing my novel komango visa so ko 2 years these two things in fact that one few weeks before I came to Australia it was really like I ended up I think I lost around 5 kilograms during that time alone you eat kasi so but eventually
arap Lagat kele kimangu kitabut kikure ne kitabung'ung akot tinyegei ak ne kitabut nekisir
oh yeah I'm a published author I have a book that I've published it's called Squatters Farm and it's heavily borrowed from my lived experience when growing up as our family was squatter and all that so it's called Squatters Farm and it's like a social political book a narration of a young boy Igere Kipkeny it's more of to do with challenges faced by children growing up in post-independent Africa.
That's so Kipkeny ko ngo Kipkeny ko inyan nan ngo
Kipkeny is a narrator of the story yeah okay. So this is a moving story of resilience told from a young boy's point of view and born in Republic of Kalialand. So this boy a country Republic of Kalialand and a country in post-independent Africa. So Kipkeny finds himself being brought up with his peers in a vast land of great abundance, but later on the issues come, socio-political issues like abuse of human rights, violation of fundamental rights, like land grabbing, corruption, all those is like
in arap Lagat ni story ni keseren kitabut niko based on tuguk chekibun inye anan ne
yeah borrowed heavily borrowed from my but
your experiences
my experience but it's I created it's like a fiction but it's informed by my lived experience while
experiences
growing up. Yeah, experiences so
okay so arap Lagat kakochop ang ngalekab banda so kaichop kiresignan anan kiyai ne eng kapkasi ako angot kyomi Seresia kobanengung nekewe kokewe ko inyegei anan kyoba ak chepyosengung. Amu nguno is ngoto kairesignan eng olin koboru kele makomi mong'atet in serisiait kong'ung. So u kele kilechi kinyewe inye kakieskotenin iwe airport indono lagok. Kimong'u eng olin kimete kapkasi. What did you do?
Yeah, kimakemenya the family kicham awendi sanyone weekend. So my family ko kimite Tarbol, kimite Jua Kali.
Okay.
So that kimakemenya. So ko amu ki challenge nebo rabinik kitamache karibu more than 1.5 sikebwa as a family. So kimakeitini kifa nini. So tulielewana tu with my wife ale ngandoita sikeng'e nini. Alafu to see what happens. So, and I really appreciate. So, after arriving in Australia, I came to do a master of, kagete bile, kiaiba study leave. I applied for study leave. Gapkasi.
So, tokoi asikarindet anan kikora ngalecho.
I later resigned. Like 1 year.
After your study leave, kakobek kenyit agenge kebutanin anan what happened? I guess it lapse.
Aja kiaresignan ko kanyoli, aresignan.
So, kait Australia in Arab Lagat, kait Australia, ibia your masters, and then Korubne, what are the challenges that you went through, or probably opportunities chemi tegebeberat of Australia? Iyo ine nguno, ako yi kitebe kotianit kikobwa family chekuk anan imiak family, and do you have any kids, or tell us a little bit about your family as well.
Oh yeah, about my family, they are now here with me. They came last year. They got a visa before COVID, but they couldn't come because of the borders closed. But they're here with me. So we blessed with two children.
So Kotoko Ituis?
Yeah, they like Tom Gotarang got some, I think they are 3 months or 4 months old here.
Oh wow, okay, that's good.
Yeah, but apparently Koki Kinganyoli, I really tried hard to be going home like once or twice a year. So Kijama, how in fact, people used to wonder how I managed to. I'm a student. I managed to go back home and come here. So I'm he sacrifices. Suppose I'm at a very young family. So even within a year, I could go home twice, maybe at the beginning of the year and towards the end of the year for the 3 years. So I came. I did my masters of community development with Victoria University. And later on, my interest changed. I'm looking at opportunities in go around with the of course Koginganyo. So my transition was smooth. I already had this close friend.
These two guys, me Jackson.
But ko negative nane, me around. Give me another state here kwa master. So ko jita nagi hostena ko Jackson. So ko gi smooth transition amu gi nyako tachang airport anyo nyege tabi go bor. In fact, my first job ko gi kinga itu kityo ko yak is I can say you somewhat he knows how to he's a brilliant guy. He knows how to work with people, with everyone. So so at some point kogi got him applying gas he said regrets. At some point college kogi went the library. At that time he was doing his masters of nursing. So college and library. So get a library again on the way college I think I have a boss some penye nafanya kazi waja ni text. Kwa hiyo text college I have this close friend of mine is capable korefana guna college this other boss tell him to shoot me an email. I shoot an email give cause I had to start our interview. So it was really
So your transition was very good. So manyoru challenges me amu cham kemwochini biik arap lagat kelechini bo maana amu sai koyoku biik lagok, mi biik cheisubech eng yu, ko ngap nyekakonde ndege lakwet kopirchi Hosea kolech orno lakwet kakonyo, ngap akot manoe kole mi Hosea in South Australia, kawendi olimbo Melbourne, kolech orno lakwet kayoku kakas kele mi Hosea nemi Australia. Ko inye ko kiaipangankei, so amu kimi chorweng'ung nepkomutin. So bo komonut konai biik kole yemeche kwo lakwet inai ile ng'o nepkotoche chito ngolin, amu bo komonut yotok, maraisi emono, mara koloo arap lagat, imuchi komi Melbourne arap lagat lakini mitei resop ing Melbourne, imuchi komite karibu yaani mi Melbourne lakini mi oli kong'eteke Eldoret ko kami karibu Nakuru, kotoko Melbourne kora. So imwochin ine biik cheu chotok arap lagat amu ngap kotyeme biik koyook biik. Ako kameche kora iteschi ile chang neranik nguno eng olimbo gaa arap lagat chematinye boisionik, unemployment is so high. Imwochin ine biik chemi olin amu inye ko koi polisiot. Une polisiek ap olo, imwochin ine polisiek wenzako cheu cho kamite olimbo Sirisia, your colleagues, what will you tell your colleagues ak young people chekasech nguno, what advice do you have for them?
Yeah, what I should mention before I go there, my colleague nakikametochi kitakanova visit kingamang Seresia. She's here with me, Konyoain, so she's inspector as well. So she like followed my footsteps.
So kinyo konyo sukul akine kuinye?
Mi konyo kikanyor time na COVID visa lakini kimanyo, so juzi vile walifungua borders. Mi ngune ako Melbourne hapa Australia. So
alikuja.
Yeah, so me.
So amemwachia mwingine office and who is now taking care of office.
Ako a lady na bunu walinywa ko Taita mabangot ka Taita.
So 2 inspectors have left, umetoja another inspector. So that is good. I like that. People who ask, gitebe information. So amache ng'ololji polisiek wenzako chemi olin ak young people chemi resop chomi kosache. Agere David Kirwa une kale por ng'wong chichi.
That's my brother, yeah.
That is your brother. Kongoi nye David Kirwa. Philip Kemboi ko kale isubech akine ko biik chechang eng yu ko len pongezi, len bi congratulation. Agere Jackson Rotich kelechin ak tugul kongoi David Kirwa ak bicho tugul cheosubech. So you've inspired a lot of people. You've written a book, you're a publisher. Kongoi akobo notok. So ameche ng'ololji asikarik wenzako akiste kiyo cham komwoe biik kole mara asikarik kolyon, that you are a good soldier ngotko I polisiot ako you've done very well ako kikoyanin biik kuni. So ng'ololji asikarik wenzako ak biik cho ngap kotindoi ng'olyon neisube asikarik.
Balozi akomech amu angere tinye advantage amu is a social worker ako ngap ko face the police a lot of social issue. Mi ng'olyondoni mental health. Tos ki address under this one, it is a cross cutting. Amu ngap iro police muy kobar chito lagokchik akobargei finally anan inyoru kora kokowek challenge ngachek. So ameche address and a little bit angen ale mental health ko wider lakini iro kityo in some few words.
Okay, kongoi daktari Balozi. Yeah, akosea. So what I can say that damwajini matagetani alejini what name alejini jaga tokol gitinya ambitions matite comfort zone there is that fear of the unknown. The greatest embedment towards your success ko fear. Don't be afraid to try new things. Someone kinga kianyo mananyo kunat ko nyaro things were much better here or whatever I could achieve back home, I could do it here much better. So after that ko kinya change in university, anyo Federation University. Tak nyagebo classmate kika go enroll in another masters Jackson Gora. So he's a very learned man. Tinya 3 masters, tinya masters na nursing, masters of social work, masters of project management. So he's so Konyage classmate, so he pressurized and college look for something like social work. That's it has a future here and it's very broad. So I transition after 1 year in Australia. When you come to study, you can change a course after finishing 1 semester with the education provider that you came with. So you can change a course if your interest will change. So I said my interest has changed and I would like to pursue this other. And I changed from Victoria Uni to Federation, where I did my Masters of Social Work. After that, I finished my Masters of Social Work. In between the Masters of Social Work in Australia is a big thing. And it's also very challenging. It's not C graduate and you're a qualified social worker. You need to do like 1,000 hours of unpaid hours of field placement, field practice, which is very huge, a challenge now, especially getting paid in getting gas in the wood. So after that, I graduated, and I did my placements in. Lucky enough, one thing I should share here about people in Australia. So Koginga planning placement that I tried applying. I shared with my lecturer who was supervising college. So getting interest in child protection. So can I apply to child protection Victoria? College, no, you cannot. It's only for local students, for citizens. You cannot apply as international student. Pesho Gemba, let me give a try. It doesn't matter. So I apply and get you. After a few days, I gave me Sugula Muki, Kenyan community students, Kogiga Gribo 5, give me that program. Mostly during lunch, we are lunch. So about to go, that lecturer konyone give me a kote kogure gaine gole amugi mok kolimnya nane. So koginga kogera college got your feedback from Department of Health and Human Services. You have been selected. College, you really. They don't take people for first placement, and they don't take international students, but I don't know how your CV was very impressive to make them maybe get that criteria pushing aside that. So, and I thank God because after that, so far I got some international students. After me, got come with international students based on what I did there and my performance experience with me, so which is really good. So I graduated 2020. I looked for a job, so I applied for many jobs. I was considering going to other states, but I later on got a job in a place called Gippsland. That's 160 kilometers away from Melbourne. That's like Eldoret to Kericho. So it's a long distance. So currently I'm a geriatric mental health social worker. I work at Delaney mental health, about big 65 years and above. That's what I do at the moment. Yeah, I'm a therapist. So I go get your referrals. I go to visit them in where they stay in aged care. Struggling with transitioning, supporting with session therapies. Yeah, so that's my current role at the moment.
So kongoi nye in Arab Lagat. So kikobwa family, kokoit family lot. So they are still new and they are, transitioning. Kongoi and family nengung kimuch ko kotebi while you are studying kitar sukul ko joinen ko imwaiwech eng yo ile bo kamanut yemeche kwo chito call somebody na ile wendi na lakwet akwoe ne all those things. So bo kamanut kora iteb, ask. Information is knowledge. Teb ile biyoe ne simakongyewe ibiyai kosit nemutai komatoretin. So kararan kora ielewan ile kosit nebiyoe kotun kotos toretin inyoru kasi inyoru mengatet eng emonotok. It's not just about going because you are spending a lot of money. Kongoi nye Arap Lagat. So kebendi ketesetai kouni ko kameche kityo koteikonu just a general advice eng chi age tugul ne interested eng kebebertab Australia, mising ko neranik. Ameche iteschi kunotok asikobit kebwa nokilen takeaways chechoket. Ko tos advice ne neikochini ko kiyai kasi olep Kenya, iyai kasitab police, ikertoi ano polisiekab olot, tos what are the comparisons? Amu iskinye koi polisiot ko mabichut police eng olot, anan ndakikonin nabas ko tos teichut.
What I can tell the young people in Kenya, there are some challenges in life, but whatever challenges you face will not determine where you're heading or your achievements. Ndaki ambitious, seeking knowledge, all those building up and going, all those struggle from using my meager, small salary to empower myself. Later on, I came all the way to here. It's not a very easy, something you can say it's very easy transition. It requires a lot of difficult decisions. So one major thing, don't be afraid to make hard decisions in life. It's after all, success comes to the risk of takers. Magoy nyor tiaga tokol net kategungan any success ngoma taking a risk. Even taking a risk, taking a step is still a risk. What imanda iwe bit type information, you're still taking a risk because you are also investing on your time and resources. So what I can advise is that there is no limit to human life or your endeavors in life. You should not put impediments. Your past should not determine your future. And then my comparison ngoli Australia is magai kombean sa ngonda dailaki kombean. This is a first world country. He developed the system. Here things are black and white. The laws are very clear. Mami gray area. You're either on the wrong or you are on the mami. You cannot go. Police in fact, it's very rare to see police officers. It's hard to come across them or to, unless you are on the wrong. So policing is totally different between here and Kenya. You cannot compare because here it's more the societies and the values and everything. It's in this society, Kiko, the honest is a virtue here. Honest is a big value. So here I'm going to give more lembeche badai. You feel guilty badai because people are very honest. So whatever you say, I'm going to get more jijita. We are lembecha. So in the long run, you feel guilty. It's not it's their values. You cannot. So what traffic lights, you cannot jam. You wait until it's green, then you can go. Sharia huku ina people very rule of law very structured, systematic. You don't police. In fact, you stay in your car, go a ticket and fine. They have powers. They give you a ticket or fine. They are Maukenya. They give you very powerful. They give you a ticket. So so it's up to you. But and you don't like Mami, it's like an offense. In fact, it's safe to stay in the car. So it's totally different. I got experience like colleagues melen malasima konyo kila mtu Kenya needs us to do the mawiki konyo kila mtu, but it depends with your ambitions and how you feel. Kwana kichama kwa sawa to might la masabo sawa. So all the way with all and that thing that people are like seeing something in me that I don't see, then triggers my mind, something in my mind that it seems there is something that people are saying that I cannot tell. So it used to give me that push. So issue about mental health literacy in Kenya talk very low. There is mental health literacy very low. Mengen big mental health ginyoru chito angot kemwoe kele kipire chito sikobanda iywek anan kolia kole koiwen
kisir Kipkeny musarek kikorokan wayat chicho, all those bad words.
So it's very keboishe tukun chekure evidence based practice oliko research kila kitu. So anything ngotiok keachini big assessment about mental health, you based on evidence whatever you see, and you're not allowed to be judgmental. You cannot use judgmental words. You describe only the assessment. So you describe you describe only whatever you see. It's whatever you go mangalalu and go in and out of mindfulness or being present, in and out of present. Explain it guna me magoitaw ile karuanan ka tepe uyam. You cannot use those like judgmental words. So, and it's also mental health is a big thing here because the program it's funded by a federal government. So ako kika puna commission kiure Royal Commission kinya kanyo kwai some assessment taken views about the mental health in Australia and all that. So this program was like developed to target all those recommendations about Royal Commission. So thank you for sharing that. I was featured there. My contribution to mental health in this area was like captured by the local newspaper. Yeah, so that was part of one of our participants. Supported me with this mental health struggle. So, and that is one of the success stories featured in one of the local newspapers. And it's also the funding agency. They made a story in their website, Primary Health Network. I think, so
kongoi nye arab lagat kongoi akobo boisiet nekararan notok kiyoe ing kebeberta notok bo Melbourne. Ko kakinetkei tukun chechang ing yu, ko kimeche kemwa kongoi ing akwek tugul chekakosubech Ngetich Evans. Congratulations Kipkeny arab lagat. Chiri Brenda imite olimbo Maldives kole God bless you abundantly brother. Wilson To ko kole agene pongezi kole To Administration Police Eldoret. Congratulations colleague. What your colleague no Ngetich Evans, Derek Kiprotich Vero Katu mongen ale imyeno Vero ko ngoi ingakwek Vera ma Vero Vera. So kongoi ingakwek tugul chekakosubech ing takwek cheomitei. Kongoi mising arab lagat kimagun chemyach yeiwendi. Kongoi amu itinye ambition neo akitesetai ak boisionik cheiyoe ing kebeberwek chotocho. Ko kimeche keweke nyekenyoru ng'olyo eng ng'alek cho kimwoe kelen takeaways chechok chekakenyoru kubun inye ko tos ne. Ko kimagun chemyach kongoi osea ing kebeberta noto bo Australia. Kongoi nye engineer ak taonyo nebo rani. Ko ameche awek anyorun inyendet engineer simwoiwech ile takeaways chekoinyoru ko ne kobun inendet Arap Lagat. Engineer, karibu.
Kongoi balozi ako kongoi Tonyo nekakoshaanwech rani akobo bandanyi. I know it's been a very, very long journey starting. Ne I believe angot ndakekere chito kityongon ku where you started, it would be very, very hard koker chito kole one day you will be on a newspaper doing something good. I think it just shows how incredible it is. Okay, which is resilient, okay, which is focused. My takeaway ko not missing resilience ak focus. Ikere lagat ile kitindo ne focus kingen kole ameche achieve ne after ne after ne. First ko kimeche kwa university. Ko ngamatomukak ko he found a way and still went to university even though kimakomukakse ngalekab fees. So ameche alenji chitugul ikere ile you want something, there is a way. Ako menae ki. Ako sometimes it just takes starting. Ikere Tanya Nobarani, what he did, he just enrolled in university. And somehow, someplace it worked out. The other thing Nekanyoru take away is friends. Keger Tonyo Nobarani, he was able to go to school amuki or go enroll in a university because of his friends. So sometimes it's good to also evaluate chuchu. Can they, are we a friend in need who will be a friend indeed when I am in need? I think I will kelen your friend, your network or your net worth. If it was not for friends, Chejik, maybe who knows where he would be. But I just want to say thank you so much for those people who've, guided your way. Number 3, Amechamwa, due to your good character, due to your, just being a good person, and got short, people saw the good things in you and see how far you have come. I just want to encourage everyone out there. Wherever you are, do the best that you can. It doesn't matter. Sometimes it's not just about money. It's about your integrity. It's about how you deal with people. It's about how you, the small thing natakakonin, I to the best of your ability, and you will go far. Example is Japhet. Perfect example. Amu kerole kikoit nguno. Amefika Australia, and I'm really impressed that even after coming here, even his friends are here as well. That is such a wonderful thing to do, and I just want to say great congratulations, Lagat, and we wish you so well. Keep up the good work. Thank you for being of service to community wherever you are, and to all of us. Thank you for your service even as a police officer. Angenale sana sana matakile ni police gongwe, because we don't really know what they go through. They go through so much. I know we see all the negative press, but for the good police out there, continue being good, and I hope one day somebody or someone will recognize you. And if no one will recognize you, I personally recognize you without knowing you. And I just want to say personally, thank you. So thank you, and continue being good examples. I think what we can take Kenya, to a better place, and we can take our homes to a better place. Kongoi Balozi, and I wish our guest all the best.
Kongoi nye Engineer Janet, Kamager Eric Maraba kobun olimbo Hungary, following us Becca Chiriot kokale good spirit, David Kirwa kokale abwati ale your brother no. Kongoi ngakwek tugul choto kaosubech eng betutab rani ko kito nebo komonut kabisa. Ikemwa Janet komi amui mebel darajet kokailande. Amu biik chechang kong yekakolanda kobel darajet mutatalen koe komakomi darajet, so kiweksei urwop baget kikimwa kunotok. So kararan irib choronok amu kito nekanyoru eng inendet Arap Lagat kotokotinye choronok chekibo secondary school tokokibeni, he has 3 classmates, kakoek somok actually We've had Naomi in Golimba, UK. Look what she's done. Kagenyoru chitab kapsisi nemite kebeberta noto ba Australia ak Jackson nekanyokwa kotinye koek classmates kokeny eng Golimba Australia ako kakomut workman nenyi nekibun twa Olimba Sirisia ako kaker kosubin colleagues chechang. So polisiono imi ng'unyun, it is possible ikanaptagei iliftengei kotinye iyai masters. Kimakun chemyach arap Lagat, atinye kamang'unet ale metelele yotok, kakemwa iwechi ile Jackson chorweng'ung kotinye 3 masters, kimache mutai kekas kele itinye 3 anan ko 2 anan akot inyoru no kilen PhD. It is possible, you can do it. Now that your family is in kokojoinenin, go back to school my friend. Ako inye itinye friends. Ngoto kemuchi iwe ak 10,000 chekiyome ak kelipan chepkondok chebo 100 and something, it is possible you can do it in Australia. So with your net friends, it is possible. Osea, what are your takeaways?
Balozi, my takeaway ko na ba self starter nebo life. Igere inendet mwenyewe kokito everything initiating all the process makitorta anan makisukuman. Kit kora nekanetkei ko ng'alekab comfort zone despite the fact kikakonyor ole nyikis kidogo ole kimakoyaki lakini kile koyan kotakante challenge kora nebo kowa as an inspector iwe back ilechi biik kotoreto ameche awo somanet ko it's not easy kongoi amu kiro ile it's worth kebrekante comfort zone ako notok tat office ikere ile kinyikotaban chito age chichot kokometo kora, so it's good at time kemanda from our comfort zone. Kit age nekanyoru kora eng sabaritab nani, kongoi kora amu kemwaman ile meche obrekante Fisher Sacco ako your progress koboru kole man otesetai obrekanite Fisher Sacco. Ngap komwa chito kole oye kiyoe ne amu mendoi strategies. Akere ale inye turu kinde strategies ako koit ole koit. Kit age kora nekanyoru sabaring'ung from the background nekibunu matikodetermine the future. Akere angot kinyi komotivaten in the background isir tabut. So it's a challenge for some of us kora chekikebunu such nini komuch kesir tabut akichek, and we wish you all the very best. Akamwai kongoi amu I'm one of the beneficiaries chebo biik kiasoman, kianyoru an opportunity asoman tabut notok amu kiyokwa kong'ete Olimbo Victoria, meche sitimwawech kityo koikonu your parting shot ole much konyorchi biik chechang asikosikyi kwal kitabut notok akomuch kotoret icheket. Nebo let Balozi ko kakonetkei kora ale ngap mi mental health nenome biik kotinye 65 years and above. Akere sahi keibe mental kele uyo ko biik chemengechen, lakini sahi ko dilene biik chebo 65 years and above. Meche situn kemutun specialist nyimwawech as in detail ile oye 65 kekere kele oye kakosekitu biik, lakini ngamuch kobargei ak miondo nebo mental health. All the very best. Kibwane tungakitu Victoria nyikenyorun. Welcome to the family.
Kongoi nye Osea, kongoi tonyo notok nekikosir kitabut kakile kilende Squatters Farms. So imwaiwech ile kinyorchin ano kitabut notok, yemeche kwal engineer kwal kitabut, ameche ne signed ane mongen ale kiyokundoi ano. We will give you my address, sign it and send it to me sikobit nyekesoman kenai kele oye toretin. Ko kito nemitei nekacham ko be ambitious, iku chito ne ambitious atya ikilgei, work hard yeku ambitious. Kito nekamwaiwech kora nekanetegei tonyo nebo rani kole don't be afraid to make hard decisions. Ngemeche keyai ki koui na, yemeche imakan hard decisions akole chito ngorok, matianit kometochi Mungu. So make hard decisions kotomo imetochi Mungu. Sing yu kaimakan decisions kotoretin Mungu neng'ung. Lakini ngomemakan, God will not decide for you. Inyende neyoe decisions. Kemwa ngyo ako tini ng'olyo nekimwa Eliud Kipchoge kole no human is limited. Mekan koek limited tuguk cheyoe. At least have ambitions asikobit iyai. Kamwaiwech kora tonyo kole Olimbo Australia komami katikati. Nginyoru biik ngoloba gaa akosube biik chechang, nginyoru ilechi une sabet kole ma, in other words 50-50. Olimbo Australia ak America mami katikati. You are either doing bad or doing good. So mami katikati. So igilgei chitugul eng ole imi, ngemakun chemyach tonyo nebo betutab rani, Ameche akonin boroindo simwoiwech ng'alekuk chebo let atya imwoiwech ile kinyorchin ano kitabung'ung ngot komeche kwal chi ako ngot komeche koruchenin chi sikocheng kitabut ko how and kimakun chemyach ak family neng'ung. Let them enjoy Australia. Kemwa ile kwondong'ung ko ki high school teacher oweke sukul tuwai atya otestai kunotok, so kimakwok chemyach yoreiseni lagok akobendi sukul. Inye ngot ko kimuch kolechin kesaven koyat account nemaina otinye kolechin kinde account nini, so you can do another account akobe sukul kunotok akotestai koreisenwech lagok koek biik che echen eng kebebertab Australia. Ngemakwok chemyach akwek tugul chekaosubech kelechin akichomok nebo man Ruth Chepkemboi kongoi, Philemon Kurgat ko kale kongoi eng inye, Vera kakemwa kele kongoi, Derek Kiprotich kongoi eng akwek tugul chekaosubech kobun kebeberta.
Balozi.
Yes.
Chamwa I recognize and kichungan Mrs. Lagat because this is International Women's Week and the efforts all that she did for Mr. Lagat maybe rane tamagimi ngalali guni, so women play a very important role. Kongoi.
Kongoi nye Engineer Janet akamwachini men cheosubech eng yu. Ngoti involven kwondong'ung eng ki neiyoe akimwochi, you can lift the mountains. Mami ki nememukoksei. They can help you lift the mountains. Kimeche kemwochi kora achek kwane Osea ak engineer Arab Lagat kelechi your wife kongoi for the initiative she took and the steps she took. If she is listening to us, we are very, very proud of her and your family. I can say without any doubt, Ale, you guys will go very far and will do great things, not only for Australia, but for our country. Ago the vicious cycle nakaba in poverty, ko hindi na ba man. Meso ko itestine iweji ile to sigere ko ki break na little bit. Kebendi ketesetai si mwaiwech eng yo, imwae ng'alekuk chebo let. Karibu Arab Lagat si imwa ng'alekuk chebo let siketar tetutiet nebo ra.
Okay, about the vicious cycle, Ornata oyehune kokong'et, at least. My challenge saidi ko at least to parents. So ko feeling a bit of based on the background nagibun if I put myself in their shoes at that time, if I was an adult at that time with all those happening, that circumstance would have really break me down or overwhelmed me in a way. So with them, my real motivation will be at least to make them feel safe. They are now living very comfortably. They feel living like a modest life. They are driving. I think they were never maybe thinking of doing someday. So I really appreciate that. At least our mission with my friend breaking the vicious cycle of poverty. It's coming towards it's breaking. It's only a bit of time. Everyone, when all the dependence, why reduce and with a dependency ratio? If you have a lot of dependence, who depend on you, that makes things hard. But if you've reduced and empowered everyone to depend on themselves, you'll go many places and you'll now have your whatever you want for yourself and you do your own things. So that's a big thing. So about my book is available online. It's available on Amazon. You can get it on Amazon. You can get it on a lot of friends in UK, US. They have ordered it through Amazon, so you can get through Amazon. Here in Australia, a lot of friends have ordered through eBay. You can get through eBay and also Booktubia, and it's showing like in around more than 20 sites. 20 sites. If you Google my name, Squatters Farm by Kipkeny Lagat, you will get a list of all the sites that they are selling or that can lead you to buy the book. So it's a good book. So far, they are from the friends that you read and the reviews. I think it has a 5-star review. If you go to I created a Facebook page for that book when I had published. So I think it has around 1,600 fans in that place. So and the book itself is really, it's a catchy thing, and it talks about contemporary things, whatever is happening in anywhere in the world, in especially in Africa, post-independent. It cuts across, and I really appreciate if you get a copy. If you are in diaspora and in Kenya, I think all close friends, thank you for those who supported me. When I ordered the first copies, I distributed, and there were friends calling me, bring me a copy. Yeah, it was really good. Though I didn't get enough time. This book was released few weeks to me coming to Australia. So no launch, no any official launch, nothing. I didn't get a chance to do like a big launch or anything. So, but I really thank everyone. Thank you thank you, Osea. Thank you, Ambassador Peter Rona, an engineer, for it's been a long, I can see it's nearly 2.5 hours. So thank you for dedicating your time to allow me share my story so that it can motivate someone somewhere. Yeah, and I really wish each and everyone, those people with ambition, keep up and never let anything derail your ambition. If there is an obstacle on your way, there is a way to overcome an obstacle. Either you you can always overcome an obstacle. Sila semo upigana na mental health, fighting with reality. When you fight with reality, you're suffering. But when you find a way of maybe working with that reality to overcome those challenges, reduce any suffering. So fighting with obstacles is not recommended, but finding a way out around the obstacles is very important. Thank you.
Kongoi nye Arab Lagat kajam ngolyondo non fighting with reality iumioni ngot ko iyande kap imuchi icheng wheelchair siwe anan icheng ki neibune sikobit iwe metebi ing yotok ako ngot kalal kot kometebi ing ko ngot ko kerat kurget bun dirisha anan ibun keshok anan iker ile kewono sikobit imongu melal amu ngot itebi ing ko ilole. Ko kongoi ing akwek tugul chekosubech Timothy Kanda, kakomwa kongoi Chaps Lagat, ko kongoi ing akwek tugul mamuchi ta mention anog ameche ale kongoi yeking'etye eng kebeberta nebo Australia komakinoe kele kitokchini kano, lakini we will be having another guest number 65. Abwoti ale kokimi 64 ko mara ketokchigei olep America, mara kebe olimbo South America, kebe Africa, kebe Europe anan kebe Australia. So kimache kemakwak chemyach ing akwek tugul chekakosubech eng betutab ra ko simwoiwech Osea ile kitokchini kono yeking'etye eng yu. Meche kelecho kongoi ing akwek tugul chekakosubech, likean, share ak isirwech comment. Kichomok tugul nebo man ngobirok Jehova. Kongoi mising Osea, kele kibendi ano?
Kibendi olimbo Wuhan, China, ole king'ete corona. Olimbo Wuhan, China.
So kitokchinigei Wuhan ole kibunu corona. Mara chito nekitinye kotun komwoiwech kole king'ete ano koroi nekitelele ng'ony kabisa, kotelel everything eng ng'ony. Tomo autye Osea, kiawe airport nemi Ungajunde kokakipakan ndegeishek. Ing yo mong'u nyabunu university neo, one of the biggest universities in the world. Nyabunu town katikati amu mite Columbus downtown. Ko kinyaje mami chi aweke straight akoi gaa ale une ka serious testing. Because really ngotelel ndege neo kokitomayan nyolen anyong barabara kwanege asotoka ale men kakoyait asaman nyonyoka nyotebi akine ngo. So ngemakwak chemyach eng akwek tugul kichomok nebo man kokikesu tetutiet nebo betutab ra ngetuiye wikino kokakebe olimbo Wuhan. Ngemakun chemyach Arab Lagat, Janet, thank you so much. Have a great week. Osea, ngobirok Jehova kongoi.
chitab Kalenjin kochelewan. Neninyoru chitab Kalenjin kororiote. Itebele kaimilene kwotindoni. Kotoi kole kaimilangi nekimwachi. Kikimwae en wikit konye kororina. Nyingonamgei chitab Kalenjin ak kasarta. Chechito chitab Kalenjin emwaura. Uyemile labati